My wife and I are attempting one of the most industrious DIY makeovers of our lives. And it could be a bad idea. No! You see, the average cost of a high-end bedroom makeover in the United States is between $20,000 and $40,000. Ouch. And so naturally, we've decided we don't need the pros. We're gonna design and remodel this whole room ourselves because we're smart and we wanna get that gorgeous high-end look at a fraction of the cost. But we'll quickly discover that there's a reason that you pay the big bucks for a project of this magnitude, as this will prove to be one of the most difficult,
I'm about to go on strike,
and one of the most frustrating projects that we've ever attempted.
This project's gonna wear us out.
Will we be able to measure up to the professionals, or will this project leave us begging for mercy?
If this doesn't work, it's the end of DIY wife.
Find out in the adventures of my DIY wife and her non-handy husband.
Oh, that would have been in.
That hurt!
Before we get started, I need to give you a little bit of context for this bedroom makeover. Earlier this year, we discovered a small leak inside a wall, which led to a serious battle with mold in 2 of the rooms of our house. The first room was our kids' playroom, which will be a future project. But the second room affected was our primary bedroom. Because of the mold, we had to get rid of all of our existing bedroom furniture and remove the wood feature wall that we had installed ourselves, which basically left us starting over from scratch with a blank canvas. But before we could start on the actual design, we needed a place to sleep. So Andrea ordered all new bedroom furniture, and our first real task was just to go pick it all up. How hard could it be? Well, apparently pretty hard. Pickup day just happened to be about 95 degrees Fahrenheit and just under 80% humidity. And since we didn't have it delivered directly to our house, we actually had to make 3 trips to get everything.
All right, 1 down, 6 to go.
But finally, after sweating our brains out, we got everything inside and Andrea was ready to assemble it.
All right, the new furniture is all set up. I've got it all put together and I absolutely love this bed. That means we've got a good little start on this room makeover, but I wanted to give just a little bit of vision for where we're going so I can kind of share what's in my head. We have a few pretty massive changes that we're gonna make to this room, starting with removing this feature wall, and I have a couple of reasons that we're going to do that. First, if you've been following us, you know we just had a massive mold incident that we have been cleaning up. We had a company that we hired to do professional remediation on everything, but we feel like we need to take the wall down because I can't really clean in between all of those grooves, and there was so much mold and just mold spores in the air that I would feel a lot better if we did that. And 2, I feel like I can come up with something that fits the design of this house specifically better than this wall. My main goal in this space is to have it feel super cozy without going too dark and moody. I'm going to be using a grass cloth wallpaper on all of the walls, which will just add a lot of texture and it's just different than painting your walls. We're going to be doing a really fun, unique ceiling feature, which I haven't done before, and I'm excited because I feel like it ties in some different elements that we've used throughout the house, but it's different because it's on the ceiling. It's going to be a lot of work. No! My first big decision in this room makeover was to figure out the placement of the new beams that I wanted to install, and so I used painter's tape to mark out a few options on the ceiling. Why is this so hard? Maybe I need to explain why this is so hard. You've been filming our ceiling. So I'm trying to figure out the spacing for my beams, and I for sure want them running this way because I've already tried some options and they can't go this way because of the stuff that they'll hit. But I pretty much only have 2 options with spacing, with the vent and the lights, and it's either like less than 2 feet in between my beams or about 4 feet. Because if I do either one of those options, I won't hit my can lights or the vents in the ceiling.
Choices, choices, choices.
So I'm getting Justine's opinion, and I am all of a sudden like not able to make a decision. She asked if we're getting rid of our ceiling fan. We live in Texas. I feel like, can you have a bedroom without a ceiling fan in Texas?
I actually think that's against code in Texas. It won't be up to code.
It should be. But I wanted to get Justine's opinion because sometimes like a change or just, I don't know, something like this last minute, I don't want to make a quick decision and then get partway through it and be like, oh no, I need to figure this out before we start. We'll see what she says. Okay, Justine is saying the same thing. She said she votes less beams and that with them up there and the actual width, it'll feel like too much. That is so helpful. After finally deciding on the spacing for the beams, I was ready to start measuring for materials, but there was one very important detail that I'd forgotten to take into consideration. All right, I just thought of one more thing that I need to check on, and that is figuring out which way my ceiling joists run, because that's gonna make these beams, you know, potentially really easy or really difficult to install. Our attic access is right outside of our door here, so that should be pretty easy to do. It's been so many years since we installed this that I'm like, forgotten. I'm a little bit scared to go up here.
You can do it, honey.
Maybe I should film. Oh my gosh. What if there's something up here? I can't tell which way they go. There's so much insulation up here. I think they go the way I want. There's so much insulation. Holy cow. Okay.
So, sounds like good news, yeah?
From what I can tell, the joists go the way that I want them to, which will make the beam installation like a million times easier. That's good news.
Woohoo!
Really quick, we're gonna take a pause from today's project to say thanks to HomeAglow for sponsoring today's video. HomeAglow is a top-rated home service platform dedicated to making your home clean and tidy. All cleaners on HomeAglow pass a rigorous certification process and have to maintain a 4.8-star rating on the platform. Even better, it's a fantastic way to support cleaners in your community. 100% of the cleaning fees and tips go directly to your cleaner. We have family coming in town this weekend for a birthday party, and I knew that I could really use the help getting the house clean while we work on wrapping up the project and getting all of our tools and materials put away. Scheduling my cleaning was super simple. I just went to HomeAglow's website and chose the date and time and duration of cleaning that I was looking for, and I could then see all the available cleaners in my area, and I was even able to schedule a cleaning for that same week. I really like that I was able to browse photos and reviews of their background checked cleaners before choosing. Okay, what really sets HomeAglow apart is their Forever Clean membership, which saves you $30 an hour on all your future cleanings. You can book unlimited cleanings starting at $19 an hour, backed by HomeAglow's happiness guarantee. I love how much the membership ends up saving me, because even after the first cleaning, the membership cost pretty much pays for itself. Plus, it is so nice to have all of my future cleanings already queued up and on the schedule, so I'm not having to think about rescheduling every time. This has honestly been a game changer for us, with me working more and then homeschooling on the days where I'm not working. Having help with all of our regular cleaning has been massive for us. So if you are ready to get your time back this fall, head to homeaglow.com/DIYwife or scan the QR code to get your first 3 hours of cleaning for only $19. Thanks again to HomeAglow for sponsoring today's video, and with that, let's jump back into our project.
All right, where are we going?
Well, we're going to Lowe's, but we're gonna do things a little bit differently, and we're actually not buying anything at Lowe's today because we have made a pretty insane discovery. Delivery. I mean, I know that they deliver stuff and I've done it before, but I was looking it up this time because we need 16-foot boards for the beams and I need 8 big panels. So I was looking up delivery, adding it to the cart, and guess how much it costs to get it delivered to our house?
How much?
$35.
What?
Like, I would pay $35 like in a heartbeat to not have to like go get all that stuff, load it all up, unload it at our house, like dude, all the time. I'm like, what have we been doing?
Yeah, I mean, what have we been doing with ourselves for the last 10, 12 years, huh?
Making embarrassing Lowe's trips where you go climb on the toilet displays and get reprimanded. No, Dean, stop it.
Worth it. Okay, but you didn't explain why are we still going to Lowe's then?
Oh, we're going to Lowe's because I want to look at the size boards that I'm going to build the beams out of and just make sure that I'm choosing the right ones.
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip. And wouldn't you know it, the one aisle we needed to go down was blocked off.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
All I need in this whole store is blocked off. There's nobody even around.
Let's sneak in.
But thankfully, a few minutes later, we were home free.
Boys and girls, we are in business.
That is what we would be getting. Is
Oh my
God. Boards. That's why we're ordering them.
I don't think that's fitting in the minivan.
No. What do you think about that width though?
What?
And at this point, Andrea went into indecisive designer mode, and she used me to experiment with every kind of design idea she could think of.
I don't know which one to do.
And it's moments like these where I think she's doing her job, but in the back of my mind, I have this sneaking suspicion that she's just messing with me.
How's that?
Could you hold it up above your head like there's a ceiling? Please don't drop it. I feel like this is gonna end poorly. Dang, this is so hard. All right, next. Can you hold it up above your head again? You did so good.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be a lot harder.
Yes.
Gosh, this is hard. Yeah, put it down.
Figure this out? Or
No, but I got videos and I'm gonna think about it before I order.
Or are you literally just messing with me? Is that what we're doing? Huh?
I'm not
that
messing
what we're
with
doing?
you. No. Which do you like better?
Man, how does it feel to walk out of the store with no cart, no checkout, don't have to load it into the minivan? Unbelievable.
I feel like we've made a discovery.
It's a whole new world. Hey, we still love you, bud. We just don't need you the same today. All right, where are we going now?
Now we're going to the paint store to get some little paint swatches so I can face another decision that I might have difficulty making.
All right, perfect. Let's do it again.
We'll see. I do have one decision that I've successfully made, and I chose wallpaper. So I brought tone on tone, so not super high contrast. Wallpaper samples that I ordered. I actually liked the least expensive one, but this one I feel like the color was just right. Like it had just enough warmth. Like it's a kind of taupey color without, it's not too light, it's not too dark, but it's peel and stick. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. This will be the most wallpaper we've ever done. I'm like, what am I thinking? When we got to the paint store, I took the wallpaper inside with me and grabbed pretty much every paint swatch that I thought might work.
Jeez, did you get enough?
Well, I'm learning from past experiences that usually no.
Where are we headed now?
We're headed back home to hopefully make some decisions and order our stuff to be delivered tomorrow. Maybe by then I'll have picked out a paint color or at least narrowed it down so I can go get some samples.
And after looking through about 100 paint swatches, Andrea practically had this decision made.
All right, I've narrowed it down a bit. I've eliminated all of those colors. I'm down to 9 swatches.
Oh, only 9, huh?
Only 9 to choose from. I feel like even 3 would be that's a lot. How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel like you're gonna have to make this decision, not me.
Oh yeah, I will, don't worry. The next day started out with a really exciting delivery. All the materials for our ceiling treatment arrived bright and early, and so we were ready to get started. Look what just got here. This whole big delivery truck for just our not so big order. Drop all my boards. All right, all of our stuff just got delivered from Home Depot, but before we start working on the ceiling, I want to go ahead and pull this slat wall down.
Then Andrea wanted to do a quick test to see if she was the Hulk.
Yeah, I need your help. I can't do that. This is going to be our new rug. Not this exact rug. This is the rug from my closet. Because with the wallpaper and the ceiling and all of that, vintage style rug is just a little bit too much going on. Love this rug. It's literally my favorite rug. So
I think we're getting a little squirrel.
we are, but we've got this random runner.
So finally we got back to business and got ready to remove this slat wall.
I bought these lamps at our last house and they were my one big splurge item because I loved them so much. But now, 7 years later, I still love these lamps. So I'm learning sometimes it's actually more economical to splurge when you can on something that you really love because you keep it forever. I've never wanted to switch these out. I just really like them. I'm really looking forward to covering up the ugly ceiling texture in this room.
Then Andrea shared some unfortunate news with me.
So I may have goofed up and I did not measure before I ordered this furniture. At first I was like, oh, it's fine. But then I was like, if we ever sell this house, it makes the room look small because these are way too big for the space.
Okay, but what does this mean?
It means I'm gonna sell these and I've ordered new nightstands that are a foot smaller.
Okay.
I know. I'm not usually I think I was just juggling too many things.
No, give me your debit card. Hand it over.
I thought you were like, congratulations.
No, where's the card?
It's hidden.
So where are we gonna sleep again tonight?
In here. All right, I got my sconces off the wall and the furniture's moved away, so I'm ready to finally start taking these slats down. All right, I need to actually get the baseboard out first. Oh, babe.
Babe, I need to go to the hospital.
A little pin nail sound like. Can you hear him?
Yes.
It sounds fun. After getting started, we decided it was time for a good old time lapse, and while I finished pulling all the boards off of the wall, Dean worked on carrying them all outside. And I don't know if it stresses anybody else out to see all these boards with nails in them next to his brand new nightstand and slip-covered bed, but it was definitely stressing me out.
Looks white.
Then I may or may not have decided to test out a little strategy to see if I could get out of some work.
Wow. That's a new record.
I feel like I'm better at this.
Okay, well, good for you.
Show you better at this. Show you better at this. Ow. Nails. Oh, I'll show you better at this. I'm getting stabbed in the
He's like,
chest.
challenge accepted.
This one's stabbing me in the chest. You got it.
It's gonna rip your shirt.
Okay,
Okay.
just about. I gotta go.
Look at that. If I challenge him, this is all I have to carry out.
I think I'm better at this than you. Eat that.
Once we finished taking all of the boards outside, it was time to get back to the design of this room. Now I feel like I need to test out the wallpaper a little more now that I don't have that wood wall. It looks so different in here. This is not gonna stay, so I don't feel like it's a reflection of the product when this falls down. But this wall is dirty and it's rough, so.
Get it there.
Ow! Ow! Dadgummit. I broke my nail.
Oh, I broke a nail.
It's not funny. I rammed it into the ceiling. That hurt.
Yeah, probably don't do that again.
Stupid.
Sounds like someone's in need of another petty, huh?
That's your toes.
Oh, Manny. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that without your debit card, though, which has been revoked.
Wow, now that looks really gray.
And at this point, things really started to go off the
I
rails.
think I like it still. It looks really great. It's gonna look great. It'll look really good with the. I'm very sad about my broken nail. I don't know what color curtains to do though.
We're all over the place.
Do
What
I do
the
light
heck
curtains?
are we
or
doing? I
dark
don't know.
curtains? What do I do? Where's my curtain swatch book?
Hi, you know what? We can't be doing this all day long.
Let's figure this out now.
Babe, like, we're actually gonna have to kind of stay on track for the project. If we keep taking these detours, people are gonna like think we're squirrels or something.
This is part of the video. What color curtains should we do, or should I just keep the ones we have?
I don't know.
These
Your designer brain is getting out of hand today. I'm about to shut it
I'm
down.
trying to visualize. Those look nice.
Alright guys, I'm not sure exactly what we're doing today, but you know what? I'm gonna go grab the ladder and hopefully we can get ourselves back on track here. I decided to let Andrea work out her squirrel brain for a while, and I went out and grabbed the ladder to be ready for the next step in this process.
Thank you, sir. Let's see if we can find some studs through all this texture.
You got one right here, darling. Just look this way.
I used my stud finder to start marking where all of the ceiling joists were, but this is not going so well. I think it's probably because there's just so much texture, I can't even tell where anything is. Like, would it be weird to have crown molding and beams?
Please don't ask me questions like that. Ask Justine, not Dean.
I gotta figure out where my beams go, actually. Can we just hire somebody to do this? So actually, I need to figure out exactly where my beams are gonna go first, because if I have seams end to end on my shiplap, I want them to be where a beam is and not randomly, because you can't hide that seam and that would look really bad.
Andrea came up with a new strategy for locating the ceiling joists, but in the end, I think she was just as confused as ever.
I'm sorry, I'm trying. All right, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, I can get going. So I'm changing my plans a little bit. Originally, I was gonna put my panels up first.
Right.
I'm gonna actually put my 2x6 supports for my beams up first, and then do the panels, and then I'll do like my actual beam covers. That'll be last still. I think sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed at the beginning of a project. So I'm like, wow, that's a lot. but I'll get through like half of it and I'll get some momentum and then I'll be like, okay, I can do this. And then I'll get to the painting and I'm like, I'm good at that.
All right.
This is gonna be a lot of work. What were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
Huh.
After I finally came up with a clear plan of action, I headed outside to make my first cut. So this is kind of how I'm building my beams, like this. And this will be, you know, the part that's facing the floor that you see. But inside here, so this will be my ceiling, I need some kind of board that I can then nail my beam to. And that's what I'm using the 2x6s for. The inside here is actually gonna be less than my 2x6. So I'll need to rip those down a little bit to this width so it'll fit. Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah.
Before Andrea started making cuts, we decided to get her pumped up with a little pep talk.
We're doing it, babe. We're doing it. I can do this.
Come on, let's go. You got this. You're strong.
Coach.
Lightweight.
Ow.
Lightweight.
This is like the perfect height to be my little like feed table for this because these long boards are gonna get heavy.
Super fancy.
I used my table saw to trim down each of my 2x6s so that they would fit perfectly inside the hollow beams that I'll be building later.
Nice.
Perfect. Now I just have to do that with 4 long boards.
Shaka, brother. Get the longboards going, yeah? One down, 3 to go.
And you would think that this late in the year, temperatures have cooled down, but nope, it's still hot in Texas.
El sol es muy caliente. That it?
Yeah, but I kind of want to go cover our bed with plastic first. We're not moving our bed out yet. We will when we get to painting. Wow, look at all that sawdust. Once I finished cutting all of my boards, I headed inside and decided it would be a good idea to cover our bed with plastic just to keep things a little cleaner. Since these beams were so long and heavy, this was definitely a 2-person job. Heavy! And so I grabbed Dean's help to hold the board in place while I added screws to the studs.
And we didn't know it yet, but this process was going to prove much more difficult than we first anticipated.
Try number 3. Don't eat that stuff.
So let me run out and grab. Are you okay?
Yeah, sure. How does it happen that every project I end up doing this at least once?
We don't even need to do workouts. My arms burn.
I'll just hold boards up to the ceiling all day. Hey! I'm about to go on strike.
You already did that. You're back.
Dang it!
I'll turn it up high.
Please leave this girl. My head.
We're gonna get 1 beam support up today.
All right, look what we've done. We're so accomplished. This project is gonna wear us out.
Once we successfully got the first board up, I measured and marked where the second board would need to go, and I was still having a really hard time finding the joists in the ceiling.
Give her a stud.
Oh, come on.
Got one. Woo!
Alright, we're ready for the next beam, which means I'm gonna need your help holding it up. Lucky you. Do I get points if I don't hit anything?
Yes.
Oh!
No points for you.
We thought we'd learned a few valuable lessons from installing the first board and that everything from here on out would go smoothly, but once again, unbeknownst to us, we were in for another very frustrating experience.
No!
No. Come on.
I can't. I don't have more screws.
Oh, goodness. There's a stud when you need one.
Need you to get up there, huh?
You're catching on.
You can see the pure excitement on my face here because I knew we were about to find success.
Round 2. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
How are there like no studs? Ah, it's hot!
This is ridiculous. Attempt number 3.
Yes! We did it! Woo! Oh, I broke my pencil. Oh, that's a good sound.
It's a great sound unless it's rattling through your brain.
Yes, I did another one. Wow.
This better be worth it.
Hey, you know what? I'm looking at this going, I like the spacing though. If it was double this, that would have been a lot. Oh my gosh, we would have had to install all of those beams, babe.
Heck no.
This was such a good choice. I'm feeling really good about it.
Your cameraman may have revolted.
Yes! Wow, okay. I feel like a rock star. I got another one.
Oh, 10 points!
Yes! I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. After finally getting the second board all installed, we were ready to move on to board number 3, and we were feeling hopeful that things were gonna start picking up from here.
But then reality struck.
Oh, my arm! Oh, the drill bit!
It's gone.
Can you hold the thing
I
up?
think so.
I'll drop it on my head.
Oh gosh.
See if I can find it.
Hurry, my love.
I think I have multiple of those drill bits.
Good thing my head is so strong. No! Come on.
Yes! So I feel like someone's probably wondering why my 2x6 boards don't go all the way across, and that's because I got 12-foot boards instead of 16-foot boards, and the room is 13 feet. But my actual like beam covers that are going to go over these, those will go the whole way, and they have plenty of support, so this just seemed simpler. I didn't have to buy the 16 boards and then cut some off and waste it. So since the next board would go up against the wall above the window, I needed to pull down the curtain rod before installing it.
And we were curious to know, would the installation of this 4th board go any differently than the first 3?
So I think I now understand why you have to pay a renovation company about 4 times more.
Nope, not really.
No stud. Come on, baby. Drill bit again.
Got it!
Stud. Stud?
Yeah.
Stud.
Andrea was getting so stressed out, she started attempting to smoke a screw.
Golly!
Are you smoking that screw?
I can't get it to screw in. My shoulders burn. It is so hard to like put a bunch of force up. Yes, I got it.
Careful now, darling. Where does this rank on the difficulty level on a project?
It's fine. It's just my shoulders are so tired. One more. Uno más. We've got a little beam to do over here. For this last beam, I needed to get out my miter saw so I could trim it down just a little bit.
Yes, stud!
And somehow, miraculously, things actually went according to plan on this last little beam. And that's why we called it the dream beam.
Look at those beam supports.
Look at those beam supports.
This is gonna look really good. Oh my gosh.
And that's it for this phase, yeah?
Yeah. We need a break. Our arms need a break. All right, so now that we have our beam supports installed on the ceiling, we're gonna switch gears just a little bit and start installing our shiplap panels before we then move on to building our beam boxes. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure for my first panel.
All right, let me guess. 39 1/4. What are we at?
Don't say different numbers, now I don't know.
How far?
I think it was 44.5.
I'm only 5 inches off.
The good thing is these don't have to be like exact down to like 1/8 of an inch because my box is gonna fit over this. I just get it as close as I can to these without being too obsessive and then fit my little beams over there and have a nice clean edge there. 44.5, can't forget that.
49 1/2.
Stop it!
Let's go.
Don't do that. We're gonna have to go get more panels if we mess this up.
43 1/4. Let's
Stop
go.
it. Once I had my measurement, I was ready to go outside and start making cuts. What was my measurement?
I think it was 57.25.
Normally you would use a circular saw for something like this, but like I said, my edge is going to be hidden, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Once I had my panel marked, I used my jigsaw to cut it to size. All right, easy peasy.
You're doing 49.25, correct? Right? 49.25, am I right?
After finishing out my first cut, I measured and marked on the remaining piece of panel and then cut along my line. Since I have a little bit less than 4 feet between all of my beams, I'll be able to get 2 usable pieces from each of these 8-foot panels.
Okay, what are we doing now?
Now, well, one of my first panels has a light, and so I need to go measure for where that will go.
It has a light?
There's a light on the ceiling, and we've got to cut around it.
Okay, thank you. Let us be along now.
Sometimes I think Andrea doesn't believe in writing things down, and so it's really hard not to mess with her.
27 and 15.75. Don't say any other numbers. I will punch you.
I'm really thinking about saying another number, you know what I mean?
27 this way.
She's not stopped.
Stop it.
She has not stopped mumbling the numbers since she measured.
This always makes my head hurt trying to figure this out. Hopefully I do this right. That would be a bummer.
Alright, what do we got going here? This looks pretty DIY.
I couldn't find string, so I've got wire.
Okay.
I just need to draw a circle.
Okay.
This is going well. It looks circular. It looks kind of more egg-shaped.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay, well that's pretty good right there. I'm just gonna like freehand it. I feel like that's probably the way to go.
You're an artist.
So just measure 3 inches out from the center in a few spots. Looks great, looks great. Once I finally had a satisfactory circle drawn, I grabbed my drill and made a starter hole and then used my jigsaw to cut out the rest of the circle.
Good job, babe.
Done.
That was incredible. Man, you are something else, aren't you? It's like a beanbag toss kind of thing. That's sweet.
Don't actually.
Nah, I got an idea.
Oh no!
What? Hey babe, I actually just went right through the hole. I know this is bad timing, but I hit it first try.
Maybe I didn't cut it. I feel like I cut it in the wrong spot.
Folks, that was unbelievable.
At this point, I was pretty positive I had just cut this hole in the wrong part of the board, but I wanted to bring it inside just to double check.
Yeah!
I think it's because I turned the panel. I was really like, I thought I got it messed up.
Yeah!
Once I had confirmed that the panel was actually cut correctly, I added construction adhesive to the back of it and then used my brad nailer to nail it to the ceiling. Ow, my arm burns. Okay, I'm gonna put the light back up. I did it!
Woo! Yeah!
So one panel up, like 20 more to go.
All right.
And after the first panel was successfully installed, it was time to go into squirrel mode.
I feel like I want to paint that light, like obviously not the like middle part, but how many are we gonna need? 1, 2, 3, 4, approximately 17 pieces. I shouldn't have counted actually, that's a lot. After calculating just how many panels I had left to install, I realized I had quite the job left before me, and so I decided it was time to get back to work. Okay.
Fits?
It fits. So I mentioned this before, but part of the reason I want my shiplap going this way is because I can easily caulk the gaps between my panels to where it just blends completely seamlessly. So you can see it right now, but as soon as I caulk it, you won't be able to tell at all. Oh my gosh, I'm only out of breath. That was hard. Wow, it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, great.
For this next panel, I got a little bit smarter and decided to draw out a diagram so I could be confident I was making my cut in the correct spot. After writing down my measurements, I was ready to head back outside and make my next cut. I'd say this is going pretty well so far. Maybe, I feel like if I say that, I'm gonna...
Can you talk in complete sentences, please?
I said I feel like everything's going well so far, and then I said I feel like if I say that, I'm gonna mess something up. Maybe I'm celebrating too soon or something. A 6-inch hole saw definitely would have made this job easier, but since I only had 4 of these lights to cut around, I decided it wasn't worth getting one, and I made do with what I had.
You're just kind of freehanding
I'm
it?
getting to use my art skills a little bit, huh?
You're an artiste, huh?
I decided to give each panel a good wipe down before bringing it inside to install because it is much easier to clean these things when they're down on my workbench than when they're installed up above my head on the ceiling. After the first few nails, I realized that my panel had shifted slightly, and so I grabbed Dean's help to hold the panel in place while I made some adjustments and finished installing it.
But even with 2 people, this panel still wasn't going according to plan.
Did I just open it back up?
Maybe.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Oh, shoot. The board is...
This project's starting to suck. How is it that every project I end up doing this? Oh, man. Ow. Oh, man.
And after finishing only a little bit of the shiplap, we were already starting to get a bit worn out.
My arms. Oh, am I going to have to take the ceiling fan down?
It's 3 down, 14 to go.
We'll do another row next week.
Is that it for this week? We're done.
Oh my gosh.
And that's this week's episode. We'll catch you next time when we do one more row of shiplap.
Should I do the middle row or this far row?
Do we want to hate life now or later?
I feel like maybe let's do the far row.
Oh.
Because I'm on a roll with cutting around the lights, and that's like fresh on my mind, how to cut around the lights, the circle lights.
Sure.
And so that would be like the same of what I just did.
And I knew it was the wrong time to mess with Andrea, but I just couldn't help myself.
Said 43 and 2
Stop
down.
it! Stop! I'm serious! I have too many numbers in my head from earlier. After writing down my measurements, I was ready to go back outside and start making cuts for row number 2. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and measure for the light. By this point, I felt like I was really getting this process down, and so pretty quickly I had my next panel ready to test it. It fits.
And after a successful installation, Andrea made a fun little discovery that wasn't random at all.
My lost AirPod!
There it is.
It was like down there behind that picture. How did it get down there? Huh?
So now do we have 2 pairs of AirPods? Could I use 1 pair?
Yeah, you sure can.
Yes. Next panel.
Next panel. Use hard over 3 hours for that. This next panel didn't need any fancy holes cut into it, so it went really fast.
And by fast, she meant relatively fast, and she certainly didn't mean easy.
Couples that shiplap ceilings together stay together.
Ah! My shoulder! The amount of nails.
And here late in the day, we were definitely struggle bussing.
It hurts to look back up at it. I'm like, feel like getting some of the harder ones done. I guess they're all kind of hard.
You know, we could just hire this out and we could call the channel Wife. You know what I mean? We're actually just burning time in between each one because it's really hard.
I'm so tired. It's like, that actually can hurt my neck.
She's up. She's away.
One more. We can do it. This way.
Another panel with a hole cut out of it, I saw an opportunity I couldn't resist.
Ow!
That would have been in.
That hurt!
Dry fit, successful. I noticed you've been putting wads of gum on the back side of these. Is that like a specific
That is kind of what it looks
strategy?
like, huh?
And with the wads of gum all in place, we were ready to install the last panel here on day one.
My arms are so I'm just gonna walk like that.
You're like a ponytail zombie.
Alright, I need a break. I can't do anymore. And I need you to go get the nightstands.
What?
I'll go get you some food.
Oh, and that, you know what? You got yourself a deal.
Said she's getting food. I am in. I'm gonna do my job. Big dog minivan, let's go. Oh yeah, heck yeah, baby! Yeah! Got the backup camera going with a little Chick-fil-A sauce to help guide me. Hello, warehouse. You know, sometimes you just gotta find a shady spot and hang out with a friend. I actually kind of want to be there right now. And this is your reminder to go spend some time with the people you love. After locating both of the nightstands in the warehouse, I pulled everything outside and then discovered that getting both of these boxes to fit in the van in one single trip was gonna be harder than anticipated. I got a bad feeling about this. Do not despair, there's always hope. Maybe. But with the good old-fashioned ram and jam method, we made it work. Woo! I told you, never doubt the minivan. Maybe. I don't need no truck. You take you and your truck, you go run over a duck. I don't even care. I got a minivan. Oh, I've been wondering who did that. And we're home. You know, I've got a sneaking suspicion that there was a bit of miscommunication between me and the Andrea over here. I think she thought I was getting lunch and I thought she was getting lunch. There was not miscommunication. Early the next day, after a cardboard massacre,
Wow, she really tore this thing apart.
Andrea had already assembled and installed the nightstands before I could even get the camera out.
Look how much better it looks. I mean, you know, if you can ignore the holes in the wall and the baseboard that needs to be fixed. Oh my gosh, those fit. I'm sorry, I feel like such a goober. I always measure stuff, and of course this time, I didn't measure. We were still like in the middle of dealing with all the playroom, the mold, and all of that stuff, so I'll use that as my excuse, but you should always measure your furniture and make sure it's gonna fit.
Or else you'll end up with one of these in the side of your bedroom.
I'm gonna sell them, but I probably won't be able to sell them for as much as I bought them for.
Did you give me your debit card yet? Or
Yeah, I got
That's
the
not-
information saved on the computer.
come on.
All right, it's time to tackle the shiplap on this more challenging section. So I'm gonna start with this piece. We'll just cut around the vent. I need to measure around that, and then we'll start thinking about that ceiling fan.
So on a new day with new nightstands, we were feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the rest of this shiplap.
Oh, so I'm not doing a little 6-inch hole anymore. Oh, but it's 6 inches that way, 1 foot that way. I can remember that. Don't you start calling out weird numbers though.
So
3.5. Stop it, stop it. 2.5.
you're getting smart.
And we were confident that there was no way this project could wear us out like it did the day before, right?
Oh, get set, get ready. Let's go. Action.
Stay hydrated.
Well, one thing was for sure, this day was a lot more humid and overcast, and it kind of fogged up the camera lens.
On this panel, I had to cut around an air conditioning vent for the first time, but thankfully everything went according to plan.
After confirming the dry fit was a success, Andrea went ahead and added glue, and impressively, she installed this panel single-handedly, like literally.
All right, before I can work on my next panel, I need to get the ceiling fan down so I can measure for the hole for that, and then we'll get that next panel up. Since every shiplap panel had its own unique obstacles to cut around, that meant every piece felt like its own little project. By this point, I definitely had my process down, and so cutting around this fan ended up being not a big deal at all.
And then I got inspired and did a little dance I call the nail cracker.
I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that.
That wasn't too bad.
Nice.
I got it. That was not even that bad.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like you build up all this like dread over something and then it's like, oh, actually wasn't even that bad.
Made a lot of progress.
Yeah, I feel like we're grooving today. For the next panel, I had to cut around the second air vent, and by this time I was feeling quite confident as I had already cut around all of the obstacles that I thought would be the most challenging.
Nice. Hey, we're making progress.
After installing this one, we realized we were well over halfway done with all of the shiplap panels and decided to go ahead and work on cutting around our last obstacle, the smoke detector by the door.
And since we were dealing with electrical, we decided to do a little tag team effort.
Uh-oh.
I have to flip the breaker off for that.
Andrea went outside to flip breakers while I stayed inside with the voltage tester.
I am ready.
Still beeping? Okay.
Mayday, mayday. Okay, that was the lights, but not it. You hit the kitchen, you hit the dining room. That's the kitchen again. Oh, that's it.
Got it?
That's it, yeah. Oh, got it.
After successfully removing the smoke detector, I took my measurements, made the cuts on my panel, and then brought it back inside to install. All right, I actually decided I'm just gonna pull this last beam support down and put my shiplap under that. That way I don't have to cut like a few short pieces over there. I also trimmed a little bit off the long edge of this panel so that my shiplap lines line up with the rest of the room. You don't have to do that, I just think it looks better. So I did it. I think that'll be easier. And then once I have all this shiplap up, I can just stick that support right back up there. Okay, I'm gonna keep this. Now it's time to test out this panel, and then if it fits, I'll add glue. So I decided to do blobs of glue like this just because, like I said, the ceiling is so heavily textured. I want a thick amount of glue so that it can press like into the texture. What? Am I out of nails? Do you think you can hold this up?
Yeah. 2 hands, 1 head. Yeah, also put a number on your neck.
We were getting so close to the finish line, but we only had 20 minutes until it was time to leave to pick up our kids, so I was definitely feeling the pressure to get this job done.
So this is the final stage of shiplap, yes?
You think we could do this in 20 minutes?
Sure.
Plus measuring. Okay, I better go quick. Since none of these final boards had any obstacles to cut around, I wrote down all of my measurements and decided to make all of my cuts in one trip. right, we got these done. And just in time, there's like some dark clouds.
Yeah.
My first piece was definitely a tight fit, but with the help of a hammer, I got it into place.
Andrea was nervous about the next piece, but for no reason.
Yes! I was so sure I cut this wrong. On some of these, there's like a 1/4 inch difference on how far it is from the wall, whether that's because the wall's not straight or because these aren't perfectly square with the wall. I don't know, or because this wall is not square with that one. Who knows? Okay, one more piece.
One more piece.
Took me more than 20 minutes, but not too much more.
Somehow, after what seemed like endless panels, we were down to the last piece. But of course, the last piece can never be the easiest.
Ow! I can't lift my arms up anymore.
Where do I?
After getting halfway through nailing this panel in place, I realized that it was just too tight of a fit, which caused it to bow down slightly, which meant that I needed to pull this panel back down and go make some adjustments. I'm gonna have to pull it down.
Pull it down.
I got it.
After a really long day, we were hoping these last few cuts meant the finish line was finally in sight for the shiplap installation. And somehow, the shiplap was complete.
Ah! We did it!
Yes.
Once we had the final shiplap panel in place, I was ready to reinstall my beam support, and it was much easier this time since I already had my screws started in the correct place so that they would hit the ceiling joists. This felt like it took way longer than I anticipated, and I am definitely feeling it in my arms and shoulders and neck, but at the same time, I'm so happy with the progress, and I'm really excited to see this vision come to life. All right, now that we have all the shiplap done, we're gonna start working on the beads, and step one is to measure all of these supports that I have. Just wall to wall, I'm gonna write down all my measurements, and then hopefully this will go really fast.
The width of our room is 159 inches.
Ow! Theoretically, all these measurements should be the exact same, but since this is an older house, it's definitely a good idea to double check.
And once again, the tape measurer struck.
Well, we should hope that they're the same. Here, let's... I'm not doing anything.
It was attacking. 159 again.
And after 3 beams, things were looking pretty good.
159 again, brother. We're square so far.
Perfection is rarely attainable, but you know, we were close enough to it.
I'm guessing 159. What about you?
This one definitely is less. 158 and a half.
159.
I think I'm gonna do this one a little less than 159 too.
So not quite square. Just a little off.
So tall.
I'm very tall. 159, 73 and an 8.
After I had all of my measurements written down, I was ready to head outside and make my first cuts.
Those are some pretty extreme thoughts.
It's stuck.
16-foot boards are extremely long and they require you to get a bit creative.
These are so long. I'm like, how? I think I'm gonna move my table to where I can rest them on the table.
That's perfect. Love the
Such a
setup.
mess out here.
What do you mean?
These boards were so long that I needed something more than just my miter saw stand to hold them up, and so I moved my workbench and used that as an extra support.
159. Round 2. The mega board.
These are 16 feet?
16 footers, baby.
These boards were so long, it kind of made today's project feel a bit like a jousting practice.
Oh, big dog.
Oh my gosh. The clouds are kind of nice. All right, there's my boards for the first beam. That was pretty easy, and I'm ready to practice on my little remnant pieces here, and then we'll try it on the actual boards.
All right. How did your test go?
Look at that. That's pretty good. I'm gonna do this side.
Oh, okay.
All right, there it is. Little
Wow.
practice beam.
Look at that.
So it's hollow in the middle. I'll fill my nail holes out here and probably give it just a light sanding to smooth out some of these rough spots. So once I get my beam built, I'm just gonna take this, I fit it over the support thing on the ceiling,
Yes.
and then put a couple of nails there to hold it.
Okay, could you hold up a little higher? I want to get under that and have a look.
Isn't that great?
Could you hold it up above your head like there's a ceiling?
Gosh, this is hard. Yeah, put it down. After a successful test run with my scrap pieces, I was ready to start assembling my first beam. All right, I have this one kind of in place. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my nails, and just before I add each nail, I'm gonna make sure that these two boards are like perfectly flush before I add the nail in that spot. So I'm not worrying about lining up the entire thing just yet. Once I had the ends of my boards lined up and got my first nail in, I slowly made my way down the beam, carefully lining up my boards before I added each nail. And about 25 nails later, we had our first beam.
We have a beam.
Look at it.
Look at that beam.
Looks pretty good, huh?
Looks great. What a beam.
All right, I've got some drywall compound here. I'm gonna use this to quickly fill my nail holes. I would much rather do this now than when I have it attached to the ceiling, even though I'm gonna add a few more nail holes when I do that. After filling all the nail holes, we set the first beam aside so we could make room to get started on the next beam. All right, I've got one beam constructed. I'm gonna start on my next one while I wait for the drywall compound and the nail holes to dry.
These boards were so long, Andrea nearly had to use the trash can as a sawhorse extension.
Ooh, I mean, trash can, gross. Big beefy boy. What do we got? We got a 1x6 or what?
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, easy.
I gotta hit you or hit the...
Whoa, what's the van?
159. Like I did on the first beam, I grabbed two 1x4s and a 1x6 and cut them all down to the correct length. This process wasn't necessarily complicated, but I did want to make sure and take the extra time to line my boards up perfectly before adding the nails so that the seam would be nearly invisible once I filled it with caulk and painted. Same thing.
Beam number 2.
After filling all of the nail holes, I moved on to beam number 3, and this one definitely felt like it went by faster as I was starting to get this process down.
It was pretty crazy to see how long these beams were, and to my knowledge, this is the longest thing we've ever put on this work table. Beam number 3.
Finally, it was time to construct the fourth and final long beam, which went surprisingly fast. Once I had all of my long beams assembled, I went ahead and grabbed my random orbital sander and started sanding down all of my nail holes and any rough spots along the edges. This is another one of those steps that isn't necessarily complicated, but it does take a bit of time and it'll wear you out.
You good?
Sweaty. Finally, I grabbed my leaf blower to blow off all of the excess dust because this was much easier than vacuuming all of my beams once I had them installed.
And it was at this point that Andrea really got my hopes up.
Nice.
Get some food. Did
Did you say
something?
food?
And then she acted as if she had never said anything about food and went right back to work.
I decided it would be a good idea to install the shorter beam first, as it would be much more manageable to work with.
I'm liking it.
It was a snug fit, so I had to use my hammer to get it in place, but in the end, it fit perfectly. First little beam up. Oh my gosh.
Do you love it or do you love it?
Oh, it's hard to say. I feel like it's gonna look rough until I caulk all of the seams and edges and then paint it.
I think it looks really good. Just like you.
Okay. Next, we were ready to try a long beam, and this may not look like much, but it was quite a challenge to get this 13-foot beam into our bedroom. Woo! Can you go over there, and then if you want to stand on the nightstand.
Is that why they call this a nightstand?
Oh, ow!
My end of the beam wouldn't fit over the support board with the wall right there, and so Andrea decided to come to my side and see if she could figure out what the problem was.
That's not happening.
I, however, was not anticipating this as I had just released a Mexican food-empowered SBD that nearly knocked her off her feet.
I just have to warn you that I'm sorry.
Sorry. Babe, get down!
Sorry, babe.
I'm sorry, forgive
Oh my god!
Forgive me. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were gonna have to come over to my side of the room.
Like maybe we can start this end here, or that end here. Come hold down here again. Did you let one out over there?
No.
Like you would go back and forth?
Once the haze subsided, we got back to work, but we still weren't quite able to get this beam to fit.
Okay, nice, yeah.
Sorry, let me go find something that's like rubbery.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm just doing what I do best. How is it that every project I end up doing this? Oh man. It gets kind of lonely sometimes though. Hey, you're back.
I grabbed a mallet to see if I could tap this beam into place, but I wasn't having any luck.
That's a great sound. Don't worry about me.
Oh my gosh. You don't even have it pushed up against the wall. Shoot. Can you push it? Oh yeah, there's no way we're gonna get it in. That wall is not straight or something.
And after all that effort, we had to take it down.
That'll do it.
At this point, we decided we could use a boost of morale, and so we set aside the first long beam and decided to tackle the next one, which would hopefully prove a lot less tricky without the wall next to it.
And this beam would require me to take my shoes off.
Thankfully, this beam installation went according to plan, and it was so exciting to see the first long beam up on the ceiling.
But we didn't have any time to waste, so very quickly we went and grabbed the next long beam.
I don't feel like I've ever stood on our bed before.
You always cross your fingers a bit when doing a custom install like this, but thankfully this second long beam appeared to be a perfect fit.
For this final beam, I needed to pull down my curtains and curtain rod first, and we were really hoping that the wall would not give us trouble like it did on the other side of the room.
Come on, baby.
Before we could even see if the wall was going to give us trouble, we discovered that the beam was actually a little bit too long.
I'm like ramming into the sheetrock. I feel like I need to trim it.
And so we headed back outside to make some adjustments.
My shoulders
All right,
hurt.
hang on.
At this point, it was time to pick up our kids from school, and so I tried something risky and left the camera in Andrea's hands. And so now I would like to present to you DIY wife minus Dean.
All right, Dean. Woo. Dean's going to get the kids, so we've got the Andrea cam. I took it off the tripod, and I can't get it back on. So instead of ripping this board down, I just grabbed the 2x4, which is a 1/2 inch skinnier than the one I had up there. I got a 2x4, and then the board that I ripped down on the table saw, that's the correct width, I cut down to fit in that space. Let's see if I can figure out how to film me putting that up there. I'm sure it's gonna be high quality filming.
Despite my lack of ability with a camera, I did finally get this support board cut and properly installed.
Let me see if I can put this beam up.
But you know, this is just real life. When you're doing DIY projects, you've got to tag team things to get the job done. So kudos to Andrea for pressing on while I was out getting the kids.
Could go really poorly. I'm just gonna try it. What could go wrong?
And once I got back, we were ready to work as a team again.
Oh, never mind. With the thinner support boards in place, we were ready to try installing this beam again, hopefully with a better outcome this time.
Good on this end.
But as luck would have it, this just couldn't be easy.
Dude,
What am I hitting?
this thing, it's just poo-poo. Doo-doo. Excuse the potty language, guys. One of these days we're gonna finish. It's not so close to now.
After quite a bit of effort, we finally got this beam over the support board and started nailing it in place.
Love that.
And in this moment, I was considering announcing my DIY retirement.
I have a shoulder burn there.
Ah, doo-doo.
Wow, with that, we got it. But there's no time for retirement because we still had one more beam to install.
And even though we got some extra support from an enthusiastic youngster, this beam installation, once again, would not go according to plan.
There you go, baby doll. Why so annoying?
Like on the other wall, I discovered that it was just not going to be possible to slide my beam over the support, and so I decided to pull my support board down from the ceiling. Oh, that one was not in a stud. Oh my gosh, babe.
Okay, got it.
And replace it with a much narrower one.
As you can see by my posture, this process is absolutely thrilling, but thankfully it didn't last long.
If this doesn't work, it's the end of DIY wife. At least the end of the non-handy husbands.
We we finally got this last beam in place, which means I get to keep my camera guy.
Right on. Wow, is that it?
Well, that's it for getting the beams and the shiplap up. Now, next week, I need to fill the nail holes, caulk all of the edges, pick a paint color.
Hey, you know what? Let's not talk about more work. Can we just slow down and celebrate?
Oh, I'm good with that, yeah.
Let's just celebrate, okay?
Celebrate for the weekend. It looks so good. I'm so happy
It
with it.
does.
So happy. I feel like, are you making fun of me? You go. No.
It looks
This
amazing.
is just what I wanted. And they look totally fine up against the wall. That was what was throwing me off. Is I wasn't sure if that would look a little bit weird, but it totally doesn't. All right, it's paint week, which means I have like a week's worth of paint prep to do and then an hour of painting. That's about how it goes. The first thing I'm gonna do to get ready for painting is start caulking this room and filling the million nail holes, which I feel like is gonna take me forever. My shoulders and neck are hurting just like thinking about it. This feels like as good a spot as any to start. Man, our ceilings were not very flat. It's like they do a little bit of this. This used to be a garage, like a long time ago. Somebody converted it to living space. I guess they didn't do a very good job of sheetrocking. I say this with every paint project we do, but caulking is one of those steps that takes forever, but it is 1000% worth it and really changes the overall quality of the finished look.
One down, about 89 more lines to go.
But even though it's 1000% worth it, it still doesn't take away from the fact that it's extremely tedious work.
All right, moving on to the next part, yeah?
Yep. It's gonna take me the rest of the year.
It should be done by Christmas, right?
Hope so. Look, I got this little section done. This is the smallest section of the room. This process is definitely a bit time consuming because I needed to caulk around every single beam between all of my shiplap panels and between every shiplap panel in the wall. So for every single one of these beams, I'm caulking along the ceiling, but I'm also putting a little bit of caulk on this seam between my boards just so that when it's painted, there's not any kind of like even a small crack of a line, so they'll look more like a solid beam.
That just means double the caulking job.
Well, at least that seems easier. I think what's gonna get me is the ceiling. I don't even know, some of those gaps are so big. I can't use like what's the foam stuff either because there's no wall behind the gap on these, like the ends of my beams where there's a really big gap. So I can't even I don't even think I could stick a piece of foam there because it'll just fall inside the beam. I may put like a little bit of caulk and like let it dry in place and then be able to like put more in front of that. I don't know yet. So the other thing that I need to caulk is the seam between all of my shiplap panels. If you've watched us install these before, you know that's what I always do. It just gives it a seamless look to where you can't tell where one panel ends and where the other one starts. And so you definitely want to do that. Otherwise you can see that little bit of a crack there because there's there will be a shadow even when you paint it.
And when caulking, what goes up must come down.
Oh.
What? This is giving me oh, it's coming out. Dang, I've already gone through a whole tube. Yeah, that's not gonna be enough. I got 5 tubes of caulk and there's no way that's gonna be enough.
Babe, you're getting wild today. What's going on? Locked and loaded, darling.
To save my fingers, I decided to use baby wipes to wipe away all of the excess caulk.
And as you might expect, this job is almost impossible to do without messes.
What's happening?
You stepped in the caulk right here.
Oh no. It's like stepping in dog poo, you know?
I was making good progress, but even with all the work I'd already done, I was only about 1/5 of the way through caulking this room. I'm just adding some to these 2 cracks that are larger so that it can dry while I go run some errands in a little bit, and then I can come back and add more. I think this is a good plan for now.
I like it.
It's a 2-step. For the next couple of hours, I followed the same process, caulking all of the gaps until I made my way across the entire room. I'm done with the caulking. I literally got down to the very last little bit of my last tube of caulk. I can't believe that was enough. I need to go get some drywall compound to fill all of my nail holes. I might be able to get this done today.
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip.
All right, I got some drywall compound. I'm gonna start filling these nail holes. I have a parent-teacher conference call in 30 minutes.
I'm gonna go fast and get as much done as I can. By my estimations, I filled about 350 nail holes, and this is another one of those paint prep steps that's tedious and maybe seems not worth doing, but it is absolutely necessary if you want to get a professional result. I think I'm done. That was literally a full work day to caulk and fill the nail holes. So that's all the video this week. That's it. We'll paint next week. All right, it's a new day, and the next big task on the agenda is to sand all of these walls down to get ready for wallpaper, because I have found just in my personal experience that after sanding it and kind of stirring up some of that dust and just getting the chalky feel on the wall, I like to have a fresh layer of paint before trying to stick to the wallpaper to it, and that's worked really well for me. So we're gonna sand the walls before we paint. It definitely needs to be done because I tried to stick the wallpaper to it and it is not sticking to these textured walls, and that would be a nightmare to like wallpaper a whole room and have it fall down. So I've never sanded this much, and I'm a little bit terrified that it's gonna be like almost impossible.
You know, this has been one of the most enjoyable projects we've ever undertaken.
Are you being sarcastic? Has it been bad?
Let me just give you a little reminder.
My shoulders! I can't lift my arms up anymore. Oh!
Yeah, it's, you know, it's been a task, but you know, we're getting there.
Every project's like that though.
I know, I feel like this one's a little unique though.
But I guess before we actually start sanding, obviously we need to do something about this furniture, and we've decided we're gonna move our mattress out of here because I don't want to sleep even with a little bit of dust floating around in the air at night. We're not gonna sleep in a mask, and then we're also gonna be painting this week, and so we're just gonna go ahead and move our bed out. We're gonna move out for a little bit. Back to the office. We slept in our office for months while this whole part of the house was completely closed off due to the mold.
Welcome to your new home away from home. Wait, how am I supposed to do work calls in here?
I don't know.
We started by taking off the bed's slip cover.
I feel like I'm taking off a baby's diaper.
Then we moved on to this chair in the corner of our room.
Might as well get this sheepy chair out of here. Is this made out of sheep?
It's probably not gonna fit sideways like that. You'll have to do like a weird sideways, like.
Okay, the weird sideways. Yeah, I'll do that.
Andrea followed that up with the curtains, and then finally it was time to get this giant mirror out, which proved to be tricky.
Next, I grabbed Dean's help to get the rug out from under the bed.
Next, we went ahead and pulled out our nightstands.
I mean, geez, this room is completely naked.
We decided to leave our larger dresser and bed in the room, as this bed would be quite a task to disassemble, and I had plenty of room to work around them. But since they were going to be in the room while I sanded and painted, I went ahead and covered them thoroughly with plastic.
Look what I'm using this time. I'm hoping this is smarter and faster, because if this takes as long as it did for me to sand that itty bitty section in the bathroom that we just did, then
you're gonna be here for a year.
Like, I legitimately I might be sanding for a week. I don't know. That's not being dramatic. So I have a belt sander. I forgot because I never use it. It's just so aggressive. This feels like probably like 60 grit sandpaper on it, but I bought a couple of other options. I'm gonna try this and hope that this is way faster, but it is so heavy. And I'm doing like I've done before, where I duct tape my shop vac to it so that hopefully I can cut down on dust, but I do think this is probably gonna stir up a whole lot more dust than my little random orbital sander. So
I can't even express my level of relief that this belt sander worked so well.
You can't see my face, but I was going while I was doing it because it's working so good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
I feel
God.
like I could do this. I don't know if I could do it in one day, but like that is legitimately like at 10 times faster, at least.
What?
My sandpaper broke.
Uh-oh.
I got more.
Although Andrea thought she had prepared ahead, it turns out she had stocked up on the wrong sandpaper.
These are way too small. Dang it. I'm all like, look at me, I got this ahead of time. Dang, I got the wrong thing. Guess I'm going back to Lowe's.
Every single day.
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip.
I got it.
Right.
Hopefully this is right.
Thankfully, the new sandpaper fit, which meant I could get back to work sanding these walls. As I mentioned before, I'll be applying a peel and stick wallpaper to this entire room, and unfortunately, it did not stick to our textured walls when I tried it out, which meant that I needed to sand the walls of this entire room to make sure that my wallpaper would stay put.
And about an hour later, Andrea was nearly finished with half of the first wall.
My back hurts, like my back muscles. I'm tired. My duct tape came off, so I think it's going good. I'm like realizing just how rough the walls are. You know, there's spots where I kind of like gouged it, you can tell. I think that'll be fine.
Oh yeah, steady on to round 2. You look excited.
Oh, I'm just really tired. It's going well enough. This wallpaper better stick. I guess that's my thought now. I was like, please stick if I do all of this.
And on she went, inch by inch, hour by hour.
I lost track of the number of hours that I was sanding in this room, but I went late into the night until the camera died. And according to my fitness tracker, this was the most intense exercise I had done all year.
Which is saying a lot because she's already completed 2 triathlons this year.
The next morning, it was time to start vacuuming up all of my dust, and there was a lot of it. Alright, now that I finished all of the sanding and vacuuming, I want to go ahead and test out some paint samples that I picked up yesterday, just so I have some time to look at those throughout the day and think about them, because I want to pick a paint color today and actually paint today, which maybe that's too optimistic, but I'm going to try. We'll see.
I was gonna say, you think you can choose a paint sample like today?
It's not even just that. Well, hopefully I narrowed it down to 3, and hopefully one of these 3 is the one, but I'm just realizing there's just still a lot of little tasks to get ready for paint, so.
Yeah, I love the variety we've got going here.
Well, I'm not choosing, like, I know the basic color I want. I need to find the exact version of that color.
I do quite like the color.
Yeah, me too. This one, I can't remember now which one I had guessed would be my favorite. I think I want one of the little bit darker ones. I just need to get the extra paint off here because I don't want to go like rinse it before I try my next paint color. So.
Okay, all right.
They're all similar enough, right?
Sure. Just already stepping back to take a look. Round 2.
Looks almost exactly like the other one, huh?
What do you know?
I mean, the little swatches looked almost exactly the same, so I knew that. It just means I know about the color that I want, that's all.
Yeah, I guess that's a good thing if you think about it.
Oh my gosh. Gotta do the last sample. You know what would be really bad is if one of these is not the right color.
After getting the 3 samples up and letting them dry a bit, it was time to bring the wallpaper for further examination.
I don't think I like that one. Oh my gosh, this is tricky. I'm gonna turn the light off. Like that's throwing me off because there's a light right there. I don't know, whoa. I'm not really trying to decide right now. Just looking at the colors, I would have guessed that the middle was my favorite. I had a feeling I was not gonna go with the light color, but I also kind of wanted to test it out. Well, I don't know, now I hold it up from here with the light off and I'm like, oh, maybe I do like that. This is why I wanted to do it now, so I at least have like a few hours.
For now, we just moved on to the next task. Whenever there's a job that's highly complex, Andrea calls in this guy.
Put down the camera so we could double team it here. They do call me DIY Dean. I don't know if you know that, but I mean, I can wipe down doors with the best of them. There's no doubt about that. Door number 2. What have you done so far? Huh? Obviously, I'm kidding. We both moved on to task number 2. We each have our own task number 2. Andrea's measuring and I'm doing the big brain work and I'm wiping.
And then the unthinkable happened. Andrea left to get materials without taking the camera, while she assigned me to finish a few tasks in the room. And that meant for the first time in history, it was time for the DIY Dean show.
If you need someone to wipe your baseboards, call 555-555-DEAN.
Member of the FDIC. Results may vary. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, may cause an uncontrollable urge to share dad jokes. Conversations may become 50% puns. You might burst into dad jokes at inopportune times. Bonus of credits after delivering particularly bad jokes. Increased because I said so. The classic dad line might become your go-to response. Your dad jokes may become a family tradition endured for generations.
After finishing up my highly complex task list, it was time to begin the great color crisis of 2024.
For some reason, choosing a paint color to go with wallpaper is like 10 times harder than just choosing a paint color, and I was having a really difficult time. Thankfully, Justine was able to stop by and be another set of eyes so that hopefully we can get the right paint color picked.
What the heck is
It needs to be like,
So Justine, how's your project going?
it's going.
How do we
It's
answer that?
a year and a month later, and we're still not done.
All right.
So that's kind of that's all I gotta say about that.
Just living
It's
that
just a
renovation life,
Living
yeah.
that renovation life. Right now, we're trying to just work with the
And here
city.
you are helping me make my one decision.
Well, this is the fun stuff. I feel like I haven't really got to like do this stuff yet.
Yeah.
So
I'll come over and help you do that stuff.
this is the fun stuff.
Okay, I found a bigger piece of wallpaper. It's one of the pieces that fell off the wall, and so that's why it's all like, it was stuck together and we kind of pried it apart. I'm also gonna paint a bigger swatch of this color just to help make the decision. Okay, can you see this difference on camera? Can you look at this difference? This is why I immediately wrote this color off, is it was so light when it was wet. It's so much different, like, looks a little bit yellower. But now I'm like, okay, that's why you wait for it to dry, because that is a completely different color.
Yeah, it
than
really
that.
is. That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? When I look at my mood board, this looks like the color on my mood board. Like I hold it up and I'm like, when it's dry, this looks exactly like the mood board color to me. That makes me feel less crazy. I was like, man, I wrote that one off right away. I was like, nope, not that one. That looks terrible. I don't think I liked that one. So there you go. Wait for your paint to dry before you choose your color.
Pro tip.
That feels like a very beginner tip.
Amateur tip.
I know, like, I know better than that. I'm just in a hurry because I want to paint today. I don't usually do paint samples on the day that I want to pick my paint color.
Pro tip.
Don't put your samples up the day that you're going to paint.
Nothing a little mocha frappuccino can help with, huh?
That is like melted ice cream. That's what I call this drink. I'm not actually usually like a sweet coffee drinker,
Okay.
but
Today, on paint week, you
I was
are.
like, apparently you want some sugar and some caffeine. I'm sure that's great. While I waited for the paint to dry, I decided to move on to the next thing, which was adding trim around this window. All right, so I've cut my windowsill piece. I trimmed it to the length that I want. I ripped it down to the correct depth on the table saw. Now I've decided I want like a routed edge that goes along the front and then the sides. Before I cut out like the little L to where it's gonna fit around my window, I wanna go ahead and route it because I'm scared to wrap that small piece like that I could somehow end up breaking my board. So I'm just gonna do this first and then I'll trim out my little corners. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'll do that with my jigsaw after. This thing makes me so mad. Figured this out before. Yes, it does. It's doing something where it's moving once I start, but I can't figure out why it does that. I don't know. Dang. I was like, I should do this on a scrap piece first. And then I was like, it's fine, I don't need to do a scrap piece. After finally getting my router bit firmly in place and confirming that I was working on a scrap piece of wood, I moved back over to the wood for my windowsill.
That does look really nice. You sure did make a mess of yourself. Let's
I know,
look.
I really
Wow.
did. Whoops.
Floor too.
All right, now I'm ready to notch out these corners so it'll fit like into the window with a little bit of an overhang on the sides.
There she goes, maker of her own custom window seals.
After bringing it inside and confirming that it fit, I went ahead and used my brad nailer to nail it in place. It's pretty good, huh?
Pretty good, owner. You know, I do believe that you could build a house from scratch. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I would hate that actually. Wow, look, the paint I think is dry.
We're getting,
It looks really good. That color looks good.
that brain's going everywhere,
It
darling.
is. I know, but this was one of the tabs that was open in my brain, was pick the paint color tab.
You have tabs
And then I
open in
turned
your
her
brain?
down and I was like, there it is.
I was gonna, you know, look at this window seal
The
over here
windowsill
that you
looks
just
great.
finished.
It's a windowsill, not a window seal, right? Am I wrong?
Tip. Learned something new today.
I could be wrong.
It is funny, like, when I think I need A new window seal?
Or window seal.
What if I'm wrong? What if I'm telling you wrong? Where's my phone? We need to ask Google. Is it a window? How do you say this?
I've got my money on seal. She's got hers on sill.
So I have typed in how to pronounce window, and there's two options. There's window sill, S-I-L-L. There's also window seal, S-E-A-L. And I'm like, which is it?
I mean, probably tomato, you know what I'm saying?
What's the difference between a window sill and a window seal? A window sill is a window board used to finish off the window frame. A window seal is generally used to prevent weather, such as wind and rain, from entering around the windows. That's a window sill, S-I-L-L.
I don't want to hear about it.
I'm pretty sure I used to say window seal though, and that's the only reason I knew that, so I can't make too much fun of you. That looks so good. It looks so pretty. Okay. Is it gonna be the same on this side? I feel like probably not. Oh, it is.
Once we had clarified definitions, it was time to go back outside and continue construction of the window frame.
Gosh, this squirrel's so fast, it's hard to keep up.
Caffeinated this squirrel.
Yeah.
After nailing my 2 vertical pieces of trim in place, I measured for my top horizontal piece of trim.
How to trim a window with the DIY wife.
No, out of battery.
After grabbing a fresh battery for my brad nailer, I finished up the rest of the window trim and then moved on to filling nail holes and caulking all of the edges.
Nail holes.
After I finished caulking, I decided to go ahead and call the paint store and order the paint for pickup later that day.
Yes, can I put like an order over the phone to pick up 2 gallons of command paint? All right, the final step before I can actually start spraying my paint is I need to cover our floors really thoroughly. So I've got some floor covering paper and stuff super thick. I like it because it doesn't tear easily when you walk on it. Hopefully this won't take too long. I don't have to mask off my ceiling or my walls. I need you to go get paint before, are you getting kids today? Will you get kids?
I will get kids.
You will get kids today.
I used this floor covering and painter's tape to cover every square inch of exposed flooring in our room, and honestly, this took quite a while. As with most steps in the paint prep process, this is tedious and takes a long time, but I have learned that it takes way more time to try and clean up my paint overspray later, so I made sure to do a very thorough job covering these floors.
So paint week is always a big week. So we're doing our normal tag team do-si-do 1-2-step combo that we normally do. And while Andrea's prepping the room inside for paint, I am gonna go and pick up paint for Andrea Davis. In you go. All right, now that we got the paint, it's time to go pick up the kids. Happy Friday. Thursday.
Once I finished masking everything off and Dean got back with the paint, I was finally ready to bring my paint sprayer inside and get started on this first coat of paint.
I'm finally ready for the first coat. I swear, it's like the actual painting is like a 20th of the work because I've spent 2 days getting it ready to paint, and now it'll probably take me like an hour maybe. On all of the walls, just one coat. I'm not going for coverage here. That's just to like make sure it doesn't have that kind of chalky finish from the just sanded, the drywall texture and stuff is all sanded. And so I want to have a nice, solid, smooth foundation for my wallpaper, and that's worked really well for me in the past. So I'm spraying everything.
Gosh, it looks so cool.
Everything we did in the last few days had led up to this very moment when Andrea got to spray on the first coat of paint. Unfortunately, her paint sprayer had other plans.
What's happening?
Andrea tried again.
It's like it keeps shutting off.
And again.
I don't know what's wrong with my gun.
And again.
I don't know what to do.
But all with no luck. And this is where it really started to become discouraging.
I don't understand.
Where to from here?
I don't know. I don't know if I should go to Harbor Freight and try and, I should probably check and see if they even have it in stock.
Yes.
Since it was already so late in the day and we could not figure out what was going on with my paint sprayer, I decided to make a trip to Harbor Freight to see if it was still under warranty or if I needed to replace it. Unfortunately, I missed the warranty window by about a week, which meant I needed to get another paint sprayer. It was like a 90-day return window, and we were just past. We're at 100 days. I don't want to put this together.
Feels like we're kind of getting beat up on this one.
After spending over an hour going to get a new paint sprayer and getting it all set up, I made a really annoying discovery.
Low spray, prime. You would think as the line gets bigger. High spray, right?
Yes.
No. Turn it all the way this way. High spray. It's bad. I guess I haven't used this one enough. Have I only used it once? It was user error. I just went and bought a new paint sprayer. And because I was reading the user manual on there and trying to set up the old one, I looked at the old one and it was already set to high spray so I could see the words, and I was like, wait, what? It's like, mine doesn't have those words. And then I was like, ran in here and I was like, it does. The high spray is towards the small side. How is that? I don't know. My brain's too tired. Is this what happens when you do projects when your brain's too tired?
Yes. You ran out of squirrel food. That's what happened.
Yeah.
After a very long and frustrating delay, I was ready to start painting for real this time. I started on the far side and then slowly made my way across the room. And this part always feels so incredibly exciting after all of the work that it took to even get to this point. After finishing the first coat and then letting it dry for a few hours, we were ready for a very late night coat number 2.
Round 2.
Round 2, late night paint session. I brought the wallpaper in just to see it. Oops. I mean, obviously we're not going to use this piece. It looks good though. It's a very
oh yeah, it looks amazing.
It's a very tone on tone. It'll be like a very textured look.
Suda, baby.
For the second coat, I only sprayed the ceiling and all of the trim as I only needed 1 coat on the walls. Because like I said, the coat on the walls was not for coverage, it was just to give a nice clean base for the wallpaper we'll be applying next week.
And finally, late into the night, paint was finished.
That's that, huh?
Yeah. All right, it's the next day. The paint is dry and it looks so good. I cannot believe I didn't get any drips either. I feel like that never happens with spraying. But I've been looking around, I'm like, there's no drips. I've had a couple of spots now that the sun is up where I've had to kind of do touch-ups in the grooves where the paint didn't cover 100%, but I knew that would be the case, but it wasn't even that much. And it looks so good. The color looks so good. We're gonna pull up the paper and the plastic and all that so I can vacuum and mop and try and get our house clean again. You know, if you can look past the wrinkles and the...
yeah, it looks great.
I say this every time, but unmasking and cleaning up feels a lot like opening up a present on Christmas morning to me, especially after the long week that we have had.
Oh, can I do that?
What?
Can I throw that paper up there? Look at it.
Uh-oh. All right, that it?
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're done with the hard part now. Wallpaper, easy. We can do that, right? I've never wallpapered a whole room before.
Well, the ceiling is looking amazing.
I'm so happy. I'm happy with the paint color. That was probably the fastest I've ever had to choose from, you know, buying samples and then getting the paint the same day. But it looks so good. I like that it has almost a moody feel without being you know, our kitchen cabinet color dark. That's dark. It looks so good. All right, we just got an exciting delivery yesterday. All of my wallpaper came. Look at how many rolls. I think I ordered 20 rolls of this. I don't think I'll need quite 20. I think I need technically 17 or 18, but I ordered a little bit extra because I wanted it to be in the same batch and all be the same color. It looks so good in here. Well, I mean, now we're sleeping in here again, but every time I come in here, I'm like, it looks so pretty. I love it. I love the paint color and I can't wait to get the wallpaper on. I
feel like this is gonna be so much easier than the other wallpaper I've done because there's no pattern to line up. With grass cloth, you just stick them next to each other. So you can see your line, but that's kind of how it's supposed to be.
And with a big job ahead of her, I was trying to boost Andrea's morale.
I believe in you. Just want to say that here from the very beginning.
Okay, this seems like a good way to do it, is to lay it on the floor. It feels like it's going on smoother than my test pieces did when I just stuck it on the wall.
It looked like my first piece was going up smoothly and I was off to a good start. I trimmed the excess off the top and seeing this first piece start to go up was really exciting.
Wow, look at that. How does it look?
It looks super schmancy.
This is gonna be so exciting getting the first piece up.
It makes the room look taller.
I know. I feel like there's this belief that you can't do stuff on your ceiling if you have an 8-foot ceiling, but these are standard 8-foot ceilings in here, and it does not make the room feel smaller or doesn't make the ceiling feel shorter. That's for sure. That's what I'm trying to say. Man, I cannot get over how good this wallpaper looks. It's it's not shiny. It actually has texture to it.
I'm actually kind of getting excited.
I feel like you're making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
I have found that when you apply peel and stick wallpaper, the very first step is to make sure your piece is straight. Then I start at the top with my smoothing tool and work my way down, making sure to get out every little bubble.
Hey, I think we're off to a good start. This is looking good.
I feel like I'm gonna step back and look at it now. Oh man, it's so fancy.
It is fancy.
It's gonna look so different.
Next, I moved our dresser so I could continue progress on this first wall. One of the great things about grass cloth is there is no pattern to match up, which made putting up this second piece relatively easy. Applying each piece, I used a straight edge and a really sharp knife to trim away the excess, and seeing that nice clean edge was a really satisfying feeling.
And this is where Andrea's wallpaper saga began. After the initial excitement of seeing a few pieces go up, she realized that she had hours of work ahead of her, and this was going to be a whopper of a job. Because this was in fact the largest wallpapering job that Andrea's ever done.
Cutting around multiple obstacles on one piece with the beams and the door was definitely a little bit more challenging, but 100% worth it because I was loving the way it looked.
And I know this process looks fast on camera, but it was actually very time consuming.
All right, I have finished most of this big wall, and instead of continuing around that way, I decided I want to come this way because I don't want to take my curtains down yet. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do this little piece above here. This is one of my remnant pieces. I believe these rolls are 18 feet or something like that. They're where I have 2 feet extra, so I knew I could save my scraps and use them for above the doors. So that's what I did.
As I worked my way around this little nook, I quickly discovered that the corners were by far the most challenging part of this wallpaper application process. It seemed like even if the room was just slightly out of square, it made these corners nearly impossible. Eventually, I figured out that if I cut my piece and ended it in the corner and started a new piece, that was the easiest way to make this work. After I finally finished this little nook, I grabbed Dean's help to help me move this giant mirror back in place and continued my way around the room. Progress was going really well, but still taking quite a bit of time. So much time, in fact, that I had to call it quits for the day after making it about halfway around the room.
All right, this is where I left off yesterday. I feel like I made really good progress so far. I'm really hoping I can finish this today. I feel like I've learned some tricks to go a little bit faster, and this is a really forgiving wallpaper to install because you don't have to line up the pattern, and that, I love it. I may hate peel and stick, but I love that I don't have to line up a pattern on this one.
On day 2 of wallpapering, I already had my technique down, and so I was ready to make some serious progress. The only thing that was still giving me a bit of trouble was the corners.
All right, my next piece is gonna be a corner piece, and I've already done several corners, a couple of inside and an outside corner, and all of them have given me trouble because basically none of them are straight. The peel and stick wallpaper doesn't have any give to it at all. So if there's any slight curve, it doesn't go on pretty. We'll just say that. So what I have figured out with the other corners is I'll try it, I'll get one side started, get that nice and smooth, and if I go around the corner and I'm not able to get the rest of it smooth, I just cut off my excess and start a new piece. And so I have enough extra for that, so I might end up doing that if I can't continue my way around that corner. Like maybe I should just cut my piece to start out with and do that. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. You know
Okay,
what? I feel like
yeah.
I'm getting smarter here.
Oh, you are.
Look smarter, you know?
Right. That's what we always said.
And even though these corners were challenging, they weren't a match for the DIY wife.
All right, I got my corner piece, and that was like literally a million times easier than the other corners. Cutting it was definitely a good idea. That helped a lot. All right, now I'm ready to work on this entire wall, but I'm gonna need your help to move the bed out of the way first.
Once I got past the challenging corner, it felt really good to make quick progress along this long blank wall.
Ah, you've already turned the corner.
One wall left.
This last wall would likely be my toughest as I had several obstacles to cut around. First, we have this random J-box, and I plan to come back to that later to figure out the best way to conceal it. After that, I had to pull down our curtains and remove the brackets that were screwed into the wall so that I could wallpaper around this window.
And after way too many hours and a couple days of work, the wallpaper in this room was finally finished.
Is that it?
I did it!
Wow.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks
I mean, it looks
amazing.
great. When I say pretty, that sounded like I was disappointed. It looks good, is what I mean. This doesn't even feel like the same room.
Yeah, not really.
I keep thinking like, oh yeah, this is our bedroom.
Is that the most wallpapering you've ever done in your life?
In one room, yes.
After a little bit of cleanup, I was ready to attach these brackets for my curtain rod back to the wall. After getting our curtains back up, I was ready to move on to the next task, installing this new frame TV. We have always been pretty firm believers in not having a TV in your bedroom, but we also really enjoy watching a good movie or show together on the weekends, and we usually end up just bringing our laptop into our room so that we don't wake the kids up. With that in mind, I was able to convince Dean that it was actually a pretty great idea to put a TV in our room. Thankfully, Samsung's instructions are pretty clear, and so this went really smoothly.
Anyways, can do it. All right, we are so close to having this room completely done. My last little project for this space will be building a frame for this frame TV that we've added. It's off right now, so there's no artwork on it, but I'm gonna get measurements and then we're gonna go outside and start making some cuts and hopefully knock this out really, really quick.
Oh yeah.
Find your arm in a spot.
Get that bad boy ready for action.
After getting my workstation all set up, I was ready to start making cuts. For this outer portion of my frame, I'm using some simple pine 1x2s.
All right, so I have two parts to my frame. The main part is made out of these 1x2s, and I'm actually gonna assemble this part using pocket holes because I have just found from previous experience that you don't see the pocket holes if they're on the top or the bottom of the frame necessarily. But I might even try and put them on the inside and then cover them up with this trim that's gonna go around the inside of my little square frame that I'm building out of 1x2s.
All right, getting the old boy out, huh? Did you just say that you want a new drill for Christmas?
No. Oh, I mean, I did say that, but I'm joking. But if my dad watches this, he might hear that. Actually, I think my dad got me both of these drills.
I think he did.
He likes Makita, and I like it too now. They're great.
You're a Makita girl,
But
aren't
this
you?
one is over 10 years old. I think he got this when our second was born. It was kind of a joke, like it's a birthday present for the kid, but really it's for you. It was, anyway, they weren't old enough to like, obviously, the kid was not old enough to know the difference, but I thought it was funny and sweet, and I really appreciated the drill.
Once I was finished making all of my pocket holes, I was ready to start assembling this outer portion of my frame.
You got some goodies?
All right, I did my pocket holes close to one side because I think what I'm gonna do is actually have my pocket holes go on the inside of my frame. Since this one is a little bit smaller, I don't wanna risk being able to see them on the top or the bottom. So when I assemble it, this is gonna go on the inside.
Right.
And I don't wanna be able to see any of my pocket hole, you know, obviously. So I just scooted them kind of as close as I could to one edge, and I've got plenty of room now, so it's gonna work.
All right.
All right, I feel like I want to undo my last statement where I recommended putting the pocket holes close to the edge because it's making this board split. So on my second screw, I'm not screwing it in all the way. I'm going real slow, and if I hear it cracking, I just stop. I'm gonna have another board on here that'll kind of stabilize it a little more, and this is purely decorative, so one screw is probably sufficient.
Is this the easy screw?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
did you hear it?
I did.
It's fine. That's why I'm going really slow, so as soon as I hear it start to split, I stop.
I call that a mini split. Look at got her with the dad joke.
Hey, that mini split in our sunroom, that's like best decision, and well, I mean, that seems dramatic to say best decision of our lives. That thing has been so nice. Our sunroom's so nice and cool, and we have this great extra space now to like sit. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna do that second screw at all on this one. There we go.
Frame, boys and girls and children and rodents.
Did you say rodents?
Yes.
All right, for these pieces, I am gonna miter my corners because it's this, you know, fancy little kind of curvy detailed piece. And so you want that mitered. That would look really weird if it wasn't. And because I'm mitering these, it gives the whole frame a feeling of having like the mitered corners, and so it'll look good. So now I need to measure for these, and these will just go in the inside. So I'm measuring all my inside measurements and then cutting just the miters on both edges.
Right.
Both edges. I think I might actually just glue this in place too, like maybe use some like super glue.
She's thinking out
I am
loud.
thinking out loud. Okay.
She might measure on the inside, and you gotta get the cut right every time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so instead of actually measuring with my tape measure, I'm mitering one corner, I'm holding it in place, and then I'm just gonna mark it with my pencil. We're gonna see how this goes on piece number one.
You just live life on the edge because you want to do another Lowe's trip.
It's like a hair too long. Let me see this side of it. No. Okay, I guess that's good. I made it square.
After finally finishing up my first piece for the inside portion of the frame, I made a very annoying discovery.
And test number 2.
I cut my board wrong.
What?
I cut my board wrong.
Somebody fancies themselves another trip to Lowe's, huh? Oh, that's awesome. She goes deep into the forest looking for supplies. Does she have what she needs, or will it be another trip to Lowe's?
I'm gonna take my whole frame inside and see if this could work. Basically, I have it turned like this, but I meant for it to be like this. And so now that I've mitered my edges the wrong way, there's not enough. So I'm gonna go see if this will work, and if it doesn't, yeah, I need to go to Lowe's, and that stinks. Okay, I still have to cut out a little notch where the sensor is on the bottom of the TV, so it's not gonna fit all the way.
Another Lowe's trip?
I'm still trying to think of a way. I'm like, dang, that feels so dumb.
That's a yes. Another Lowe's trip.
Frame looks good.
Yeah.
After taking my frame inside and confirming that I did in fact need to redo this piece that I just messed up on, I headed back outside to continue making progress.
I want to go ahead and cut my other pieces just in case I make another mistake.
Okay.
Hopefully not, you know.
Hopefully not.
That way if I do make another mistake, it's not 2 more Lowe's trips. Well, that's a good fit.
You good?
It just caught a little bit. I get real jumpy when I'm cutting miters on this giant blade. I gotta measure it. All right, that last one, I did not trim it so well and it messed up my end there, so that's why I wanted to cut these beforehand, so now I know. Well, I guess I could still get both of these pieces cut out of one piece, so just can't mess them up. Maybe I should get 2.
Maybe you should, yeah.
After I finished cutting my remaining pieces, it was time to make another trip to Lowe's.
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip. And to any time that Andrea has to stop mid-process and make another trip to Lowe's, you have to basically run to keep up with her or get left behind.
No slowing down. You ain't playing, huh?
After we got home with a new piece, I was ready to move fast and get this project done. Last couple of pieces and making sure everything fit, I was ready to glue them in place.
I think one of the kids took the glue that I was planning to use for this, but I had some extra liquid nails from the ceiling, and so I cut off the end. And I'm going to attempt to use this without being too messy, so we'll see. And then I need to clamp it and let it dry for a couple hours.
Even though this giant tube of liquid nails wasn't my first choice and is definitely a little bit awkward to work with, it will get the job done, and at this point, I was determined not to make another trip to Lowe's.
All right, I'm gonna let this dry for a few hours and then we'll come back out later and we'll stain it. We'll be done.
A couple hours later, after the glue was dried, I was ready to start staining this frame. Before staining my actual frame, I decided it was a good idea to test out the stain on a scrap piece and make sure that I liked the color.
All right, I decided to use this same Rubio Monocoat Pre-Color Easy in the color Vintage Brown. I've used this on like our stair railing. I've used it to layer with their Oil Plus 2C, which is more of like the actual stain. But I'm looking for a light neutral stain because I feel like that's what'll fit the space best, and I like this one. Plus it doesn't smell, so I can bring it inside really fast, like as soon as it dries, and I don't have to worry about it stinking our room up.
Thankfully, this process was relatively straightforward, and within 15 minutes, I was done.
That it?
That's it for that, and then I think I'll just decide if I want to put like a wax or a clear coat on it once this dries, because it will dry a lot lighter. Like it looks kind of splotchy and darker now because it's still wet. So we'll see. I'm gonna take it inside after it dries a little bit and see if I like the color, or if I want to put a wax on it to kind of bring out some of the warmth, darken it a little bit.
Goodness.
All right, let's see how this thing looks.
Yo, nice.
I feel like that, more than anything, does such a good job in not making it look like a TV.
Yeah, I agree.
Something about that wood frame. You can buy these online, but a lot of the fancier ones are like $500 or more, which I was just like, I just can't do that. I want to use that budget on like lamps or something that I'm really excited about.
You're gonna DIY that bad boy.
I know, it's a pretty easy build. That looks good. I like the color too. I didn't want something that was like super high contrast. I wanted a little bit of warmth, and I wanted wood because I wanted something wood on this side of the room. I like it. So eventually I'll cut a hole in the wall and hide the cord in the wall. I haven't done that yet, so I'm just gonna scoot the cord over to the side because I'll have a face here. So look at that. No more cord.
No more cord?
No more cord, and I didn't even have to cut a hole in the wall.
Amazing.
After finishing up the frame and putting it in place, I was finally ready to start putting the finishing touches on this room.
What do you got?
So I talked all about my sconces and how much I love those, and I still love them.
Sure.
But in the renovation process, I had a regular lamp sitting in here, and I was just like, something about that fits the space better and it looks better. And so I have wanted to get these lamps. I love them. These were like my biggest splurge item of the room. But they're beautiful and they look so good, and I love them so much. So I'll figure out something to do with those other lamps. They're heavy. It's like a small child. But they look so pretty.
The way that you are holding them and talking about them, it is like you have a new child or something.
They're my lamp babies.
With the new lamps in place, I was ready to finish off this wall with a piece of vintage artwork.
Did it perfect.
I don't know where my level is. I've lost it in one of these projects. How does it look?
Yeah, it looks about spot on to me.
Next, it was time to finish off this space by making this plain white bed feel just a little bit more cozy.
Look at these pillows! They're so fun. This is my favorite. It just feels so nostalgic with like these big ruffles. I don't know. I feel like I would have seen this in my grandma's house or something, but I really love it. I have one in our living room too. It's just, I don't know. I really like it.
This is now the third time that we have made over this space, and while I have loved every version of this room, this one is by far my favorite. The story of this bedroom is a long one. When we moved in 2018, it was actually an old garage conversion and just a big awkward space. We divided it up into a bedroom, bathroom, and playroom and put a coat of white paint on everything for a nice blank canvas. A few years later, we were ready to give this room some more focused attention and add a bit of character. I refinished a dresser and nightstands that I found on Facebook Marketplace and added this wood slat feature wall, and I was thrilled with the way it turned out and had no plans of changing it. That is until earlier this year when we discovered a pretty massive mold problem in this portion of the house. During the remediation process, we learned that we needed to replace all of our upholstered furniture and pull down this wood slat wall to properly clean behind it, which meant we were basically back to square one. But honestly, I was kind of ready for a change. So over the last month, we have spent more time on this bedroom than we ever have on a bedroom makeover before. But now that the work is finally finished, I can confidently definitely say that it was worth every bit of extra effort, and I absolutely love the way this room turned out.
Well, man, how amazing does this room look? It's definitely like something straight out of a magazine.
Yeah, it definitely feels so different. I walk in there and I'm just like, is this even the same space? Or I'll look at our old pictures and I'm just like, my mind is blown a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, 1000%. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I feel like it fits our home. Like, it's not like too dark and moody, but it does have like this cozy feeling. I think with the kind of just mid-tone color on the ceiling and then the wallpaper and all the texture, I'm like, oh, I love it so much.
It's just so nice.
It is.
Yeah, I'd have to say a favorite for me is the ceiling. The whole treatment, the paint, everything, like it just looks so incredibly high end. And we did this for probably, I don't know, a 20th of what the professionals quoted for. So hey, that's a win, baby.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of work though. I think my arms look a little bit, look at that muscle. Like, that was so much work. All the little steps above your head. So many people were like, why didn't you get the drywall lift? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
But hindsight's 20/20.
It
if
is.
you do this, you should probably get a lift. Like, or maybe you want a really good shoulder and arm workout, and that's good too, I guess. I don't know.
Pipes. And so yes, obviously that is the cost of DIY. You spend time on it, you spend labor and sweat on it, but you save a ton of money on it. So tomato, tomato, you know what I mean?
It's always worth considering which is worth it in which circumstance. In this case, I have no regrets. I'm glad we did it ourselves. It looks so good. Like, and I did it. I don't know. That's kind of fun too, is when you get to end of a project, being able to look at it and be like, I did that. It looks so good. That's a good feeling too.
So one thing's for sure, we're really glad to be done with this project, and we love the way it turned out. It's just so fun. It's so beautiful, and I think we completely nailed high-end design at a super low cost. So that's it for this massive DIY bedroom makeover, and we'll catch you again in another big project very soon.
That saved me a lot of work. That's a really good idea to do that.
Are we playing now?
Weed eater. What if I just...
I'm hungry and I want to eat lunch.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So I want to get this done. I ain't here to mess
just
around.
Ate breakfast. That was your second breakfast, but you ran 6 miles, so I would be hungry if I ran 6 miles too.
Okay, but are we filming a video today?
Let's get a TV.
What are we doing?
Are we TV in the bedroom people now?
I don't even know like what is happening.
Oh, I don't want to start doing shiplap. That's what we need to do, huh? Okay.
Are you avoiding the job that you want to do? Is that what all this is about?
Probably, yeah.
You just let me know when you're ready. You're always looking for a stud, aren't you? I guess that's how you found me, huh?
Can you come hand me a screw? Okay. There. Oh. It is going to look really different.
It's going to look very different.
Way different. I'm kind of excited about that. It's fun.
Yep.
I still haven't picked out a paint color though.
Babe.
I've narrowed it down to like 5, but even those I'm starting to second guess. I'm like, I don't know, do I want to go darker than the wallpaper or lighter than the wallpaper? And now I'm starting to, that's not good. Usually I have it narrowed down to like a, you know,
1 or 2.
like at least like a value. I'm like, I want it this kind of like darkness, you know, how to.
I thought we were just commenting about how you had a clear plan laid out in front of you and you know exactly where we are going.
I was talking about the building part. I know what the next steps are really clearly. But I guess maybe it's not as clear as I thought.
I mean, to be fair, she actually spends a little bit of time each day with each color sample. She talks to it, she gets to know that color sample. It's kind of like speed dating. And eventually, you know, within about 6 months, she will know deep down in her heart which color is truly right for this space.
Which is the one. We don't really know much about dating, because...
What do you mean we don't know much about dating? We dated for 3.5 years.
Oh yeah, when we were like teenagers.
17 and 18 and 19 and...
Our brains weren't even fully developed yet.
Why are we talking about dating?
Because you were talking about paint colors like dating. You brought it up, not
But
me.
why would you say we don't even know much about dating?
Because we dated as like teenagers. I don't know.
What does that have to do with anything? I thought our dating was great.
Oh no, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. But like speed dating, we didn't have to do all of that.
Yeah,
Dating apps? I don't even think they had dating apps when we were dating.
No, because they didn't even have Instagram or Facebook.
I'm too introverted. I'd probably just be like, whatever. I'll just be alone. I can't talk to this many people.
Yeah,
dating apps? I don't even think they had dating apps when we were dating. Good thing I found you.
That's why I had to like chase her down every day and stand at her locker awkwardly and be like, hey, how was history class? I was like nervous inside. And she'd kind of look at me like, what are you doing here? And I'd be like, hi, I'm Dean, and I'm super cool. You want to talk? It worked. It worked. Shoot your shot, boys. When I say shoot your shot, I don't mean like randomly call down a girl. I mean, I took months to talk to her, build relationship. I wrote her some notes. You
shared your wheat thins with me. Sometimes the things were
snacks.
so subtle that I didn't even notice. Like, I didn't even remember that.
With her, and in my mind, I was like, yes, we're connecting. This is great. This is borderline romantic. But for her, she was like, oh, great. Thanks for some wheat thins. I just finished my...
I was probably like, I don't even like wheat thins, but they...
You know what? I'm going to go back on my shoot your shot statement and change that over to pursue. Correctly pursue a woman. That's a better strategy than just, yo, girl, what's up? You know. That's not going to work. Sorry, boys. So maybe there's something to learn in this. We dated like pre-social media, pre-even like cell phone heavy days. So I had to have face-to-face conversations and interactions with her on a regular basis for us to build relationship, friendship. And eventually, we got married 3.5 years later.
We did talk on AOL Instant Messenger.
You're talking about...
You remember?
AOL, baby.
Oh, okay.
Played some street hockey back in the day, you know.
Oh, did you? Oh, babe. That was literally almost in my face.
That's what I said. I said, come back. I need to try and hit you. Where's my tape measure?
I never know the answer to that question.
It was right behind you.
I was not hiding your tape measure.
You were hiding it. It was behind you.
You put it there.
You stood in front of it.
I don't want to hear this nonsense. Are we ready to keep tackling this project ourselves? Are we about to give in and call the professionals?
I am a professional.
You are a professional.
But I'm only one professional.
But it's one...
I'm one part-time professional.
Yes. I think that's the difference between like HGTV. It's like they have a whole crew of people working on a project day after day. And we're like one person working on the project.
One
film crew.
Yeah.
So we can't exactly be like, we're going to just knock this bedroom out in 1 week. Easy peasy. It's like every piece of labor, we're doing it ourselves. We're filming it ourselves. Grant's editing it himself, so...
Yay, Grant.
Yay, Grant.
Our editor is so great. Maybe we should just brag on Grant for a minute, which is funny because you're going to be editing this. But for real, we like talk about it all the time. It's like he's able to think like Dean now. And we still get comments that are like, oh, Dean, this is so awesome. And I'm like, well, it's not Dean doing that editing. But Grant like literally is able to, I feel like, kind of predict the things that you would have done too. Or sometimes you just surprise us and add funny stuff and we're like, that was actually really great.
Yeah, it's really great. Go, Grant.
You ready to go work on this project right now?
Freaking no.
I feel like I should give a little like disclaimer. We did do the renovation for cost, but then I did a little bit of girl math, and with all that money that I saved, not hiring somebody else to do it, I bought like some really nice lamps that I've wanted for years and years. They're expensive, but they look so good. I did get them on sale. I did get all the furniture on sale actually. That's why I bought it earlier.
Hey, if you spend a month redoing your bedroom, putting in all the labor, saving us between 20 and 30 grand, you know what?
Go buy some nice lamps.
Go buy some nice lamps.
And then I feel silly. I talked about those, my wall-mounted lamps and how much I love them, and then I switched them at the end, which I still like them. I just changed it up a little bit, you know?
Nice.
Let's figure out what to do with those now. I still really like them.
Facebook Marketplace.
We'll see. Or maybe I'll just give them to somebody.
All right, well, hey, it's been real doing business with you.
That's it for DIY wife
And
this year, right?
that's it for DIY wife.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Next project, you're going to have a new camera person, and
Ooh.
they're going to be incredible.
Oh, good.
They'll probably even be handy. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say handsome. I was like, whoa, okay, we're getting a little weird here.